but you're still going to continue to see some rainfall and some cloud cover on into Florida, so really no complaints, although you have had quite a bit of wet weather lately around Homestead. It didn't dampen the spirits of the folks, but it did have to put a damper on some of the outdoor activities slated for today. The annual Great Sunrise Balloon Festival never got off the ground. Light rain and low clouds forced organizers to cancel the event. And we don't think anybody's complaining, though, because they do need the rain, although it is a big holiday weekend. Since May 23rd, when this rain began, this episode, Homestead has picked up a total of 3.5 inches, and that is good news, although it's not enough to completely alleviate that drought situation. So either way you slice it, you're going to see some wet weather on this holiday weekend across the country, in some cases across the U.S. Check it out. This frontal system is dropping on down toward the south, and with the cooler weather in the front, it is slamming on into warmer, more moist air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, and that really sets it up, the perfect setup for severe weather from Texas all the way around Oklahoma City back to Wichita, Kansas, and we do have a big cluster of thunderstorms right about here. They are firing up and moving off toward the east. Severe thunderstorm watch box is in effect until 10 o'clock Central Time, where you see yellow, and also for the shaded areas of red, including Wichita Falls, Texas, around Dallas, all the way into southern Oklahoma, a tornado watch. This one includes Caddo County, where we have had reports of a tornado, and again around Gracemont, baseball-sized hail. Here's the front, where it's going to be on Sunday afternoon. Not much progress, although it will be slowly sinking off toward the south. And we do see some showers and even some thunderstorms coming on shore in the northwest. There could be a few strong ones embedded in there, but the best chance for severe weather, this big arc. Be careful if you're in these areas. Coming up on the Weather Channel is riding on your tires. We'll check it out for you because this is a big travel weekend. We'll show you where the tricky spots may be. Into the northwest, we've got showery conditions from the Puget Sound on tap all the way down into northern California around Redding and Chico, even San Francisco. They could be in for some rain as the morning hours roll around. We've got a frontal system slamming on into the coast. It's a pretty vigorous one, and that may cause some problems into the country's midsection over the next couple of days as it ventures its way into the plain. For the time being, into Sunday morning, still could be somewhat slick northern Colorado around Denver, where they have seen some thunder showers tonight, and also throughout sections of Kansas and Oklahoma, up to 4 inches in isolated areas of rain is expected. Rainy travel extends along that frontal boundary, and this will be the case for severe weather. Bright red on the map indicating where we expect that severe weather to develop. Especially around Oklahoma City, they've seen a monster thunderstorm cluster come on through, and they have reports of heavy thunder showers and even some hail. That was the case around Binger, Oklahoma. They reported a tornado, and around Gracemont, Oklahoma, golf ball to baseball size hail, and they are under a tornado warning. Tornado watch south of that until 10 o'clock Central Time, but in that general area, there is a tornado watch in effect until 1 o'clock in the morning, and a severe thunderstorm watch box all the way to the south into this part of Texas until 10 o'clock Central Time. If you are hitting the road tomorrow, be careful because of the fog, especially from around Chicago, Illinois, all the way back to Columbus, Ohio, and into the middle Atlantic states. Now, they've seen some rain and thunder showers there tonight. Tomorrow morning, fog may be the dominant feature, so keep the low beams on for best visibility. Coming up, a radar update with Mike Bono.
In the rush of events that ushered in the new decade, you may have missed the news about the Sanka taste test. In it, rude decaffeinated drinkers found Sanka ground tasted as good as Folgers regular ground. That's right, a decaffeinated that tastes as good as a regular coffee. So if you thought you had to give up taste when you gave up caffeine, you haven't heard the news.
Early 59 degrees, Great Falls, Montana. About 80 degrees down in Miami, Florida. So it is nice beach weather, temperature-wise, but we've got wet weather there. And in fact, it's been pretty soggy, and they've had to put some of those weekend festivities on hold. In some cases, we're going to take you into Homestead, and the annual Great Sunrise Balloon Festival in Homestead was one of those ill-fated events. Light rain and low clouds forced the organizers to cancel. But we really don't think a lot of people are complaining about the showers because, again, they're looking at a deficit in South Florida of rainfall. Since May 23rd, when this episode of rain began, Homestead has picked up a total of 3.5 inches, and they've received rainfall amounts for April and May that have been about normal, but it will take more than a couple months to chip away at that drought situation. Still some rain falling in that area of the country, also back up toward the north, even Boston, Massachusetts, light thunder showers. And we follow those all the way down throughout Texas, and a tornado watch box, or a couple of them, remain in effect where you see red on the map. from central Arkansas all the way back near Childress, or actually Wichita Falls, and around Dallas. So keep this in mind. We'll tell you things are going to get better in the next 24 hours for the rest of that forecast for the holiday coming right up.
Center, and we're keeping an eye on Hurricane Bertha as it moves its way up the coast of the Carolinas. And coming to you in this segment, we'll have live reports from South Carolina. Also, right here, as we've still seen those strong westerly winds in the upper atmosphere, pushes everything to that right of the center of circulation. It's moving its way to the north-northwest at 9 miles an hour. Pressure 985 millibars, wind sustained 80 miles an hour. So this is a Category 1 in the Saffir-Simpson scale. Center of circulation 190 miles south of Wilmington, North Carolina, and that's about 100 miles southeast of Charleston, South Carolina, and about 110 miles east of Savannah, Georgia. From Savannah, Georgia to the North Carolina-Virginia border, hurricane warnings continue. In these areas, do look for winds getting up to hurricane force today. Also look for torrential rains and also the potential for a storm surge. Greatest strike probability pointing right about Georgetown, South Carolina, looking for a landfall if the storm continues with its present course and through the early afternoon hours, probably between noon and 2 p.m. And as you can see here, to the right of the center of circulation, we are looking for a storm surge of about 4 to 8 feet there. And already we are looking at the water levels rising about 1 to 2 feet above normal. High tide has already occurred, and the storm will be coming in at low tide, so that will help out just a little bit. But still, we are looking for a significant surge, and people in low-lying areas are told to get out. As you can see here, winds are strongest to the northeast of center circulation. Again, as I told you, everything's on the right-hand side of the storm, the real bad part of the storm. And with the storm expected to move to the north-northwest, those high winds will be coming into coastal South Carolina by the late morning hours and very early afternoon at the latest. Well, standing in the path of the storm is the Weather Channel's Bill Keneally. He's reporting to us live from Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. A haven for golfers, but today is pretty much a ghost town, isn't it, Bill?
That is right, Mark. I'd hate to be hitting upwind today. Tell you what, we're getting a reprieve again. There's not that much wind right now. It's a little bit gusty, maybe upwards of 30 miles per hour. There is some light rain falling, as you can see. It looks like it's pretty dark off to our east. It looks like these bands will be coming back in at us very, very shortly. Seas are running pretty high. Mark, you mentioned the high tide was about 6 o'clock this morning. The tide is now definitely going on out a little bit. It did come up as high as the dunes. It did not breach any of these dunes. And I suspect, as we do have a low tide coming in the early afternoon, that will be well-timed. As Mark, you also mentioned the threat of a landfall probably early this afternoon, a little bit to our south. We have to worry about that some, as we would be in a right front quadrant situation, so there may very well be some storm surge out of this.
And with that storm headed in your direction, a lot of people told to evacuate. Do you have any information on shelters in the area?
Yes, we do, Mark. In Horry County, which is the county including Myrtle Beach and really much of the Grand Strand itself, there are 10 officially sanctioned shelters, and within those shelters we have about 3,000 people so far. All the folks that are in the hotels were ordered out. They had to go, and even though it was a mandatory evacuation anywhere from the intracoastal waterway here to the beaches, the people that had the residences had the option. So I suspect a lot of those folks have decided to ride this one out here on the beachfront.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. And we are looking for status quo for the next several hours, but things should get worse later on this morning. Okay, we'll talk to you in a little bit. Well, headed up the coast we go. We'll take you into North Carolina, now to Hanover County and into the Wilmington area. And reporting to us on the phone is Mr. Bruce Schell. He is the Public Information Officer for the Wilmington area. And we'd like to say first, good morning, Bruce. And could you tell us what is going on in the way of recommendations for the local residents of Wilmington and Hanover County?
At this point, we're telling everyone to stay where they are. The Riceville Beach, Carolina Beach, is continuing to deny access to the residents. We're in a holding pattern, watching the storm. Our wind levels have not been that high, and so we're getting some responses from citizens that they want to get out and about. So we're stressing with those folks to stay where they are and be patient and safe.
Yeah, with the landfalling storm, you get a lot of thrill seekers, and as you mentioned, there are some people out and about, but would you say that most people are cooperating?
Oh, yes. We've had very good success with our evacuation and very pleased with the way things are going.
Okay, and we'll be getting back in touch with you later on this morning as the storm gets closer to your area. Now let's take you back up the coast, and we'll take you into North Carolina's Outer Banks. And standing by is the Weather Channel's Jeff Morrow. And Jeff, your vacation being interrupted by this storm, and I'm sure that many other people are sitting back and waiting for the worst to come to the Outer Banks.
That's right, Mark, but well, for the Outer Banks anyway, fortunately, it looks like maybe the storm's, the worst part of it may not come up here. But as you were mentioning, the storm being asymmetrical and a lot of the worst convection or thunderstorm action on the east side, we're expecting that maybe some of that could come up here, and it looks a little bit ominous out here this morning. We can pan around, you can see the ocean kicked up a little bit. It's not that terribly high, it was a little bit worse yesterday, but you can see the horizon definitely dark. We'll pan around here to show you the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, which is just south of me here. It has seen a lot of hurricanes in the past, and I'm sure there'll be more in the future. But this one so far doesn't look like...
Las condiciones del clima para las próximas horas con Analisa Fernández. ¿Qué tal, Analisa?
¿Qué tal, Verónica? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. Tengo entendido que el huracán Berta se acerca cada vez más a las Carolinas.
Exactamente, se prevé que tal vez toque tierra hacia mediodía de este viernes. No se sabe con exactitud si en Carolina del Sur o en Carolina del Norte, pero está muy cerca de hacerlo.
Bien, pues adelante, te escuchamos.
Gracias.
Adelante.
¿Qué tal? Es un placer saludarles. Las condiciones en la Unión Americana en la porción del oeste se mantendrán secas en todo lo que se refiere al norte del país. Algunas lluvias se estarán presentando en California, en Arizona, Nuevo México y Colorado. Un frente frío estará provocando también nubosidad y lluvias en Oklahoma y Texas. También habrá lluvias en la región de los Grandes Lagos, severas tormentas principalmente en Wisconsin se estarán registrando. El fenómeno meteorológico más importante en estos momentos es sin duda el huracán Berta, que se encuentra ya muy cerca de las costas del Atlántico Central. Tenemos más detalles para usted. El huracán Berta se localiza a 304 kilómetros al sur de Wilmington, Carolina del Norte. Sus vientos han disminuido de intensidad, ahora son de 128 kilómetros por hora. Su movimiento continúa hacia el noroeste a razón de 14 kilómetros por hora, ocasionando fuertes vientos y oleaje de 2 a 3 metros de altura. En tanto, continúa la zona de alerta por la presencia de este huracán, extendiéndose desde Brunswick, Georgia, hasta la frontera entre Carolina del Norte y Virginia. Además, también se ha emitido un aviso de prealerta desde el norte de Carolina del Norte hasta la ciudad de Chesapeake, Virginia. Carolina del Sur ordenó la evacuación de miles de residentes y vacacionistas en las playas de los condados de Horry y Georgetown, incluyendo el popular balneario de Myrtle Beach. Berta ha perdido intensidad en las últimas horas, sin embargo, sigue representando una gran amenaza, ya que el radio de sus efectos es muy amplio, 640 kilómetros. Berta avanza hacia las costas de las Carolinas, donde se espera que toque tierra cerca del mediodía.